Hello everyone, how you guys doing? Hopefully you're having a wonderful day. And today we are here with a video on the top soccer cards under $100 that I feel would be useful in a beginner collection or someone that's really starting to work their way into soccer and maybe hasn't gotten quite there yet. So should be a fun video. Hopefully you guys take it that way. I honestly haven't done almost any of these types of videos in the entirety of my channel because one, soccer for the longest time, and still is to be fair, was fairly new. And so a lot of these things weren't ironed out, and I also didn't want to influence things or even be wrong about things, because for a while I really didn't know what I was talking about to a full extent. I feel I know a lot more now. Am I perfect? No. Is anyone perfect? No, but I try my best to do an okay job, so hopefully you enjoy the video. With that said, just understand there are different cards to choose from, so if you want to go ahead and make those decisions for yourself, I implore you to do so. I don't think you should go and buy all the cards in this video. I am just trying to give some sort of entry ideas for people that maybe aren't all too into soccer but might want to test out the waters. So let's go ahead and start with a preface here to further preface my statements that I'll be making. First, this is not investment advice. That is first and foremost. We are talking about soccer cards under $100, and this is sort of just, a playful space to be in. So secondly, and in the same regard, this is not which cards will perform the best compared to the field. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to give you the next hot prospect that's going to go from $100 to $300. I'm not trying to give you the undervalued card that no one's been paying attention to that will go from 75 to 500. That's not what this type of thing is for. And clearly, I don't make these sorts of videos in the past because I never wanted to do this sort of thing. But I do think that, having some options, having some ideas for people that want to enter soccer cards out there in a YouTube video is helpful. So hopefully you guys see it that way. Also, this is simply the cards and stickers that I feel truly matter at some level and would make sense for folks who want to bolster a beginner holistic collection and sort of get their feet wet and get into the water. So these types of cards and stickers I'll be talking about, I think hold a pretty good meaning considering the price point that you can get some of these for. Of course, you might have to get them in lower grade. You might have to get them raw, different options that are going to allow you to get them under $100. But these are meant to be sort of ideas for people that want to be able to dip their toes and then expand from there and look at other things, right? I just want to give you what I feel like would be 10 cards or so that I truly feel that if I was restarting my collection, I should start with and sort of build from there. So first off, and to sort of solidify this, we'll start with Messi rookies. Now, to be fair, it's going to have to be low grade, don't get me wrong, but you can actually get low grade Messi rookies for under $100. A lot of people view Messi as the GOAT of soccer at this point after his recent World Cup win, and I wouldn't fault you if you did so. And you can still get some of his rookies under $100. Now, he does have a few different rookies. His most widely sought after 71 bis is not under $100. In the lowest grades of that, you're probably looking at like 500 to 1,000, closer to 1,000. But he does have other rookies, and most of them you can actually get for 75 to 100 in low grade. As you can see here on the top, we have this BGS 3.5 of a Campio rookie. The green one here and the blue one next to it are from a Barcelona team set release, also labeled Mega Cracks. The 71 bis Mega Cracks that everyone looks for is a league release, but these are a team release, and in low grade can be found for under $100 from time to time. I will say this is one instance in the video, and there will be others. I won't necessarily know which one is which, but these aren't always up on eBay all the time for the prices that you see up on screen. They kind of sell that way at auction whenever they do come up. Soccer's sort of unique in the sense that there's not a ton of these out there, at least compared to a lot of other sports. If you want to go look for like Tom Brady Bowman on eBay, you're going to see tons of them in basically every grade all the time. Messi rookies, a little more so comparable to that Tom Brady scenario, but other ones, there's not necessarily a ton of these out there. So you might have to be a bit patient. Nothing wrong with that. If you're working on a budget, patience is going to help you for sure. On the bottom, you have this Top Liga. This is a 4-panel, 2 panels on the front, 2 panels on the back, but a 4-player photo and a card from 2004, and that one with the non-foil version can definitely be found under $100. If you're buying these raw, I'd be a little more weary. If you're new, I would definitely just aim to get a low grade one. I'd pay up for that rather than raw because there are fakes out there. Most of the time, it's really, really easy to tell if you get a graded copy next to a fake copy, but depending on how the pictures are on eBay, sometimes it's not as easy. So Here, I mentioned Barcelona Mega Cracks. I also mentioned the top league on the bottom. $75 to $100 is doable if you're diligent. And in terms of reason, already sort of stated, but Messi rookie year cards, still low grade, but really meaningful cards in the grand scheme of things. Messi rookies obviously going to hold some sort of standing in the hobby if soccer is still meaningful in the future, which at this point feels like it will be. Next up, we have 2006 Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo World Cup stickers. So these are their Panini stickers in actually pretty high grade, 8s and 9s. Stickers are generally hard to grade because they're pretty flimsy and they do come out of packs. They're 20 years old at this point, and so getting an 8 or a 9 is actually fairly hard. I've opened up packs of this before. I've gotten a Ronaldo. A lot of the Ronaldos that you find are absolutely beat, even out of the pack. And stickers, I mean, it's just so easy to bend. So an 8 or a 9 is actually pretty decent. And these can be found, again, for $75 to $100. If you want to go on eBay and bin it, you might have to pay a little more. But if you do look around on auction, an 8 or a 9 for either of these guys should be pretty doable for $75 to $100. Reason, at least, that I put this on the list, first World Cup for both of them, pretty legendary in that regard. You have two of the greatest ever to do it, both in the same World Cup, both with, probably not the best photos of them to be fair, but still really cool, really iconic in terms of soccer. You also have the Panini sticker lineage, which is pretty huge here. Panini stickers, if you are not aware, are essentially like the tops of soccer. I mean, for the Topps baseball releases, Panini goes all the way back until the 60s, and they do basically yearly sets even up until modern day. So also, as I mentioned before, difficult to grade. So a PSA 8 or 9 is actually pretty good. If you want to go look at the PSA Pop Reports, check that out. Would recommend. But that's the next option there. Got a couple there for you. This one is as close to prospecting as we're going to get, but I don't really think it's prospecting at this point. But it does have some upside in the sense that he's a modern player, could do more things. Also downside in the sense that he is a modern player, could do less things, or at least less than people anticipate. This is the 2016 Panini sticker Mbappe foot release out of France. You could get this for about $100 in med grade or raw. Now, reasons being, this is actually Mbappe's true rookie. Now, that's a debatable sort of take. A lot of people say his 2017 cards are rookies. A lot of people even, at least more so in latter years, but even still to today, people argue 2018 are rookies. From my perspective, if you like stickers and cards, 2016 only has one sticker, 0 cards. That one sticker is what we have up on screen here. So from my perspective, this is Mbappe's true rookie. But if you are someone that prefers cards, then 2017 and maybe even 2018, depending on how you want to class it, could be rookies as well. But those get expensive, especially the numbered versions, and it's a really muddy scenario. So for me, I would personally just go with the sticker. I will say I have 0 Mbappe stickers, so this isn't some sort of pump or something that I'm trying to promote from that perspective. But as an outsider looking in that might want to own an Mbappe sticker or rookie one day, if I was going to, I would probably just buy the 2016 sticker, call it a day, and forget all of the 2017, 2018 hubbubaloo. I don't even know if that's the right way of saying that word. I think that's like the first time I've ever said it. Anywho, you also have the Panini sticker lineage, which again, as I mentioned before, Panini stickers sort of like the tops of soccer in that way, comparable to baseball. There is Topps soccer nowadays, so it's getting a little more muddy, but in terms of lineage, Panini stickers were always the thing. And also, sort of as we mentioned ad nauseum here, only 2016 release of one of the biggest stars of the era. Hasn't won a Ballon d'Or, so that's, a little bit of a detriment, but at the same time, he is going to go down as one of, if not the best World Cup performers ever, especially, if he does a lot more in these next few World Cups. But he's already, I think, a goal off of the all-time scorer list, so yeah, pretty good start. Next up, we have what was another young, rising prospect and did good in his first World Cup, also his second. Well, the team won. Never mind. Let's not get into that. This is 1958 Pele, and these are W.S. Verlag. There's also Bremer, which is Bremer Coffee, sort of a couple German releases here. As you can see, they're more in-action shots or team photos. This one on the left is a authentic evidence of trimming. Now, you might not have to get evidence of trimming ones, but you are probably going to have to get PSA 1s or less to be able to afford these in the 75 to 100 range. But these are Pele, quote-unquote, rookies. Technically, Pele has 57 releases, but I think there's only ever been 2 sales of those in like my 5 years in this space. So people widely consider 58 to be Pele's rookie year, and I would also sort of accept that as well. Reason being, I mean, pretty straightforward. These are Pele rookies again, if you want to class 58 as rookies, which I think 99.9% of people do, unless you're trying to be a stickler. Even then, his second year would still be cool. I mean, it doesn't have to be truly rookie, I guess. It's just very early and generally really cool, especially considering he did win the 1958 World Cup, was sort of the rising star of the tournament, the young player coming onto the scene, the first of 3 World Cups he would go on to win. So, of course, you do have the Pele World Cup win and a World Cup history sort of attached to it as well. And some cool photos here on the left. This is sort of an iconic image to some extent, him crying with the team post-celebratory win. You also have some in-action shots and some team photos as well. So really cool stuff there, and to be had under $100, at least from my perspective, really, really cool for the value. Next up, we have a Cruyff Vanderhoot. This is a Cruyff rookie. Again, it's sort of like the Pele scenario. Technically, might be second year, maybe even third year, depending on how you want to class it, but still really early Cruyff and one of the best players ever in soccer. Also a pretty iconic image as well, at least in the realm of soccer collecting. This is the 6870 Vanderhoot. It is a multi-year release. Now, why that is, basically, the same exact sticker was released for both 1968 and 1969 season. Basically, the producers of this album used the same exact photo for both years, and he was the same exact number in the set for both years, so there is absolutely no way to tell the difference. Thus, it's a 6870, which is kind of unique. Now, the reason why this is in the list of cards under $100, it's a Cruyff rookie, one of the top 5 players of all time. At least in most people's list, I would have him at number 5 personally. It's also semi-available. You do see these sell from time to time, and it is also a very, easy entry into a GOAT at a decent price point. 75 to 100 is not bad. I mean, honestly, if you wanted to buy like mid-career Cruyff stuff in decent grade, that's probably going to run you 75 to 100, if not more. Now, granted, this is a PSA 2. I wouldn't say it's a decent grade, but at the same time, a 2 in soccer sometimes can be really, really nice looking. I mean, look at this 2. Doesn't look like a 2. Reason being, it was removed from an album, and so the back probably has a little bit of damage, some more than others, but from the front, looks really good for a 2, and sometimes almost indistinguishable from higher grades, especially with PSA's inconsistency as of late grading this type of soccer stuff. So, from my perspective, a really cool item under $100. I then threw Cristiano Ronaldo's Upper Deck releases in here from 2003-2004 season. You do have the sort of regular Upper Deck you'll see here on the left, and then you have the SP Authentic behind it here. These are 2 of the cards. Both of these sets have 3 cards, so there are 6 options to go from. These are Upper Deck releases. They're also both from the 2003-2004 season, from my understanding. PSA grades these Upper Deck cards as 2003, and they grade these SP Authentics from 2004. But as far as I'm aware, both of them are from the same season. It's just sort of a weird PSA choice of years, I guess. Because in soccer, it's kind of difficult because the season spans from half into one year to half into the other. And so sometimes they use season to grade, sometimes they use year. It's a bit murky. But for that reason, I do think that both of these are fair. You will probably have to get these raw, maybe in low grade, like the SP Authentic. You could actually probably get in like a med grade, but the regular Upper Deck might have to be a bit lower. Reason being here, early Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, this is his second year. So his rookies are pretty expensive because there's only a couple of them and they're fairly low pop. So second year at a fairly reasonable price point. They are also first year Manchester United, so pretty iconic kit there, and also pretty iconic session that he had with Manchester United as well. That span of years in the first go around, also came back in the 2020s. And then you also have, at least in my opinion, great looking cards. I mean, compared to his rookies, I do think the rookies look pretty decent as well, but I think that the colors and just the Manchester United appeal probably puts this at a different level just in terms of eye appeal for a lot of people. Next up, going back to the Messi-Ronaldo pairing here, we have 2006 and 2010 Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo Panini cards. These are their first World Cup and also second World Cup, but in my opinion, better looking on the second World Cup. So the first World Cup, you sort of have these. There's the Upper Deck card peeking in here, but the first World Cup, you have this Cristiano Ronaldo here. In my opinion, not the best looking, but it is first World Cup. It's a Panini card from that year. It's a World Cup release. You also have the Messi as well. And down here, you have the Messi from 2010, which sort of has a metallic feel going on. Also, I believe that's South Africa in the background, maybe. Really a cool card. And of course, there's, Messi 2006 as well, and Cristiano Ronaldo 2010. So you can go for whatever one you're feeling like, or maybe both of them. These can be had for $40 to $100 again. And these examples probably going to have to go for either raw or med grade. I don't think you're going to be able to get 9s or 10s, probably. You might be able to with the 2010 card, but nothing wrong with the raw card. Ultimately, the reason that I put these up here, both early World Cup Panini cards for these players, they also are sort of like the quintessential cards for those World Cups. There's really no debate about that, I don't think. I mean, whenever you say 2006 or 2010 card for either of these players, this is kind of what you're thinking of. Great cards for the era, again, sort of what I was referencing there, where there's not a lot to be debated in terms of what cards you think of when you think of those eras. Pretty iconic, and also easy to build from this. So sort of once you start to get the early World Cup cards, you can very easily put together a run of all their Panini cards from their World Cups, 2006, 2010, etc. It's sort of a good building block to be able to move from. Beyond that, one that's sort of a standalone that I thought was fun is the 2022 Panini Instant card. Typically not my favorite. I'm not a fan of like Instants or Topps Now or this type of stuff, because in terms of lineage and, mass appeal, it's not really something that usually stands the test of time, but obviously this one's a bit different. You have the 2022 Messi Panini Instant. These can be had raw or even in PSA 9 at times for around $30, maybe $25, and even at PSA 10 grade, sometimes you can get them for $100. Reason being, I mean, it's pretty simple to explain, but you have a Panini card from Messi's World Cup winning moment. You also have an iconic photo and moment, and it's a card that's probably meaningful to anyone unless you're like a Messi hater. This is a card that I feel if you saw it at a card show or something, or if someone posted it online, you could almost always see it and be like, that's a pretty cool card. Now, the downside here, I guess, is that, I mean, this card is only, 2 to 3 years old, and, you could buy these at the time whenever they came out for like $3 to $5 in mass. So they are obviously up since then. So you're not getting this, I guess, at the cheapest price ever. But in terms of the meaning of the card and the price point that you can get it at, it doesn't seem crazy. Again, this isn't something that's like massive investment advice. Go out and buy these. You're going to go up. That's sort of the point. But I do think that these are cards that, if you gave it to like a kid, or if you have a kid that's getting into soccer cards and you gave him this card, this would be a really cool card. And to be able to get it for sometimes $25, hey, I don't know if it's the best investment ever. Again, that's not the point of this, but at the same time, I think it's a really cool card, a really cheap price, and for that reason, made the list. This one's a bit different. The last two, I'm kind of going to go into sets that you could start to work towards, or sets that you could go after that a lot of people in the hobby generally agree are sets that they enjoy themselves. And so I wanted to put those in here. I didn't want to pick particular players because, of course, you can kind of go whichever way you want with this. But two of the ones that are sort of the most talked about in modern are 2017 Chrome and 2014 Prism. I personally would go for colors or refractors. Base used to sort of be the thing, but, a lot of people sort of got bored of that pretty quickly. A lot of people would rather go for something a bit more rare, a bit more unique, and so you have colors and refractors that you can go after instead. Of course, price point, I mean, this is going to vary widely. I have $5 to $100. I mean, if you're going after like PSA 10 low number Messis, you could get into the like tens of thousands range. So, you're going to have to stick to maybe some of the, secondary stars, maybe some of the more printed parallels, like a blue out of 199, a red out of 149. You might not be able to get the golds out of 10, but that's okay. Ultimately, the reason, these are the first Prism and Chrome sets within soccer. 2014 Prism had a huge boom whenever the, sort of COVID boom was happening. They came back down to earth, but they're still, really desired in terms of soccer collectors at large. Chrome, much the same, sort of had a run at one point in time, come back down a little bit, but at the same time still has a lot of collectors out there that are going after it. As I mentioned before, hobby beloved sets. These are things that have sort of stood the test of time, at least as much as something can in soccer. We're really only like, 5-ish years into soccer being a really collectible sport at a decent price point. So are these the sets that people are going to be all after in 5, 10, 20 years? I don't know, but I do know that for the time being, they've held their ground pretty well. And also, you have a pretty good player checklist between the two. 2014 World Cup Prism, of course, you have all the World Cup teams, all the stars from that World Cup. And then 2017 Chrome is a Champions League release, so you have some of the best teams in Europe. A lot of the players that probably didn't make it into 2014 Prism made it into 2017 Chrome, vice versa. So you should be able to have a card of the players you like from one of those those two sets if they were playing at the time at a high level. And then finally, for the vintage folk out there, this is sort of a set that I've long flirted with, not really made any moves on, but I do like the 1970 Panini World Cup stickers. It's a beloved set in Europe and has been for a long time. I would say the lore for this set definitely stretches further back than 2014 Prism or 2017 Chrome. People have been going after this for a long time over there, and of course it's sort of even stretched to modern day where people are collecting slab versions of these. Great players for the time. Obviously, again, price point depends. You're probably going to go for either raw or med grade of these players, and you can get some really good players like this Gerd Muller over here in a PSA 5, one of the better players of the era. That was around $100, I do believe. In the Eusebio, it was a throwback sticker, but that also was maybe $50 or $60. So not breaking the bank on any of this. Of course, if you want to go after the Pele, yeah, you might have to pay up a little bit more than $100, but anyone else is fairly attainable. And the reason I have this is first World Cup stickers, at least Panini World Cup stickers. Their first set that they did was in 1970. They've continued all the way until 2022. You also have an amazing player checklist. Not only do you have the current players of the time, like a Gerd Muller, but you do also have these throwbacks to older World Cups, like Eusebio here, so you have past and present stars. And there is hobby lore in Europe far beyond the years that soccer's really boomed here in the States and at large. This has gone back much further than that, so there's a pretty good history there. These two sets, I debated on whether or not I should put sets in here, but I thought it might be a fun way to go ahead and give you a build your own path type of thing. I don't want to pick cards necessarily from one or the other. Do your own research, enjoy it yourself, and even the same for other cards that we've shown throughout this video. These are just sort of building blocks that you can then sort of go from and be able to find other things throughout those players' catalogs that you enjoy yourself. So, hopefully you enjoyed this video. A bit of a different one. If you did, do make sure to leave a like. I'd appreciate it greatly. Anything you want to tell me or others, cards you think maybe are good under $100 without pumping and dumping, keep it tame. But if you got cards you like under 100, do make sure to mention them. And if you want to see more videos like this, as soon as I go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.